Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Sri Tips here, and I've got a little bit of scrap gold that I've accumulated over the last few weeks or so. Here's some 14K material. Add that into our crucible. That's 114.3. I've got some 10K material. I'm going to add this into the crucible, and that is 110.1. And now I've got some 18K material. Add this in. And that, I got a little battery here. I've already pre-weighed it. There's 13.3 grams of 18K material. I've calculated that I need 239 grams of sterling silver. The estimated yield from this refining will be 122 grams. Here's my sterling silver pieces. That'll do nicely for this inquartation. Take it out to the melt table. We're going to alloy this sterling with this karat gold. This can be confusing to folks that are not familiar with this process. Why am I adding silver to the gold that I intend to purify? It's counterintuitive and kind of a little bit of confusing, but what we're doing is we're adding that additional silver to alloy with the high karat gold to get the gold concentration in the alloy down to around 25%. Then and only then will we be able to use hot dilute nitric acid boils in the next step to remove nearly all the silver and nearly all the base metals from that alloy. If we didn't add the additional sterling silver, then the high karat gold, the 14, 10, and 18 karat gold would just sit there and boil in the nitric acid. It would not change state because the high gold content would protect the silver and the base metals in the karat gold alloy. Now that we've added additional sterling silver to the karat gold and got the gold concentration to down around 25% pure gold alloyed with 75% silver and base metals, when we added that additional sterling, now we can use nitric acid boils to remove all the silver and all the base metals. We've been at this now for about, I don't know, several hours. What I'll do is I'm going to pour this nitric boil off into our silver jar. And I think what we'll do is add some fresh nitric acid to this. Put some water in here. You never want to set a dry beaker on the heat. Just a little bit in there. I'm adding some distilled water. An equal amount of nitric acid. And then what I'll do is just go ahead and let this soak on a little bit lower heat. I decided to let this simmer overnight in that dilute nitric acid. You can see the container is oscillating there. That's because there's a thermostat in the heating plate that turns the element on and off to maintain a certain temperature, and that's what causes that pan to oscillate back and forth. And later in the morning, I think it was about 7 o'clock or so, 6:30, I went out and I dumped out the charge of nitric into my silver jar and added a fresh charge of nitric acid and distilled water and just let it boil for a couple hours. I've had the gold on simmering all night in dilute nitric acid. And what we're going to do now is pour off this acid and save it, because there will still be some active nitric acid in here. Now what we'll do is add some distilled water, and we're going to give it a quick boil in some distilled water. While I'm waiting for this to boil in some water, what we'll do is take our silver jar here, and I'm going to take this out of the fume hood. We're going to put this outdoors under our rain cover because it's going to produce some fumes. I'm just going to get this out of the way. Here's our beautiful pure gold with all the silver and base metals removed, now boiling in some distilled water. What I'll do is I'll pour it off into that container back there. We'll set it up on this burner, and I'll add some hydrochloric acid, some sulfuric acid to take out any lead that may be present, and then small doses of nitric acid until we get all this gold to go into solution and dissolve. I'm going to put it on a time lapse and do that right now. I used about 60 milliliters of nitric acid to get all that gold to go in solution. So there's going to be some extra excess nitric in that gold solution. This is by far the best way to remove that. Evaporate it down. I can tell when it's done when all the fumes are gone. I've got the solution evaporated down. All the fumes have cleared up inside of this beaker now. And that tells me that all the excess nitric that we had in here has been expelled. Pull it off the heat, let it cool down. Let's get some ice in here. Get this solution it down. Got about 4 ounces of gold in 150 milliliters of solution. Now what this ice will do is dilute the solution, cool it down, and precipitate out any silver chloride that we may have present. I'm using a number 2 medium flow filter paper. Now what we'll do is go ahead and filter the solids out of our gold solution. Here you can see our solution is cloudy. This is what we filtered out of the solution. Insoluble solids. The cloudiness probably comes from silver chloride. So what we'll do now is go ahead and run this solution back through the same filter a second time. And what that'll do for us is, now that this filter is loaded up in the funnel up here, it'll filter out fine particulate now that the filter has become loaded. So let's go ahead and get this set up. And we're going to pour this solution back through a second time. As you can see, the solution is still a little bit on the cloudy side. The second pass through filter got it cleaned up real good. But what we're going to do now is go ahead and put this thing through a third pass through the same filter. See if we can get the rest of this cloudiness to clear up out of here. Just a touch of cloudiness. Pour it through the filter a third time. This third pass through the same filter has really cleaned up our solution nicely, so now it's free of any cloudiness. Nice and crystal clear. Do is add this solution to a clean beaker with some ice. Now what we'll do is add some sodium metabisulfite and precipitate out the pure gold. Here we go. Another spoon of SMB. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Starting to get some foam on top there. 8. 9. There's our foam. 10 spoons of SMB to precipitate out all the gold. Let's give this a stir. I can tell all the gold has been precipitated by the color of the solution. Test it with some Stannis. There you go. We've got all the gold to drop out of this solution. I think what we'll do now is go ahead and move this gold solution onto our heat pad and give this a boil. Get it to settle out quickly for us. Let's pull this down off the heat and let it cool down. There's our pure gold looking real good. I need to make some room in this bottle so we can pour the waste off out of our current refining. I'm going to pour off this waste solution now. All right, here's a look at our pure gold powder down in the bottom of the beaker. I'm adding some hydrochloric acid now. I'm going to set this up on the heat back here and give the gold a boil in some hydrochloric acid. This is our funnel. That's the junk that we filtered out of the gold. I've got a little bit of solution in here that contains some gold. I'll just add it to my waste container. It's been on boiling in hydrochloric acid for about 10 or 15 minutes, I guess. We're going to pour this waste solution off now into this container, and then I'll rinse it over and over with some hydrochloric acid, followed by multiple rinses with distilled water. right, here's what our gold looks like down inside the beaker. Refined, rinsed off, and we're ready to melt this up to an ingot. Let's get the gold to our melt dish. We'll take it over here and melt this up into an ingot now. Okay, here's our pure gold bar that we just refined. And I've got to say, man, it is just gorgeous. There's nothing like holding pure gold in the palm of your hand. It's real money, real wealth. Let's see, we're expecting 122 grams from this lot. We got 121. So it was very close. We'll take it. Okay, this will conclude the video. I'd like to thank everyone for watching.